Good morning. Today is the final day of April, the 30th, and tomorrow, making 30 days past September, April, June, and November. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 again. Cash Register Synchronicities from yesterday. From my return to the labor camp, labor laboratory of the Taurus after 2 sick days. I got a gnarly chest cold. It appears to be in its waning hours now. And where are we on the ecliptic in the year here in the northern hemisphere? We're in the spring quarter, going from 3 o'clock Aries to 12 o'clock Cancer, or the spring equinox of the equator, to the summer summit of the year, the high point, longest day of the summer summit, the sum of all the parts, the sum total of the sun, God's sun, Ray, Ra, of all ratios, of all radius, of all radiation, of all rays of sunshine, Ray, Ra, of the crab, Cancer, the crab that goes side to side, sun stands still at the same plane on the ecliptic path for 3 days before going down, falling to fall. The spring quarter in your anatomy is Aries, the cerebrum, of the high ram of the top of the brain tree at 3. 1, 2, tree. A, B, C, D, E. 1, 2, 3. East, Easter, Ishtar, Astro, Astarte, Astrology, the logos or the lord of logic of the stars, of the light. God is light, and in it there is no darkness. John. Of January, Janus Aries. And then Taurus in the cerebellum, the back of the brain, the bulge, bull of the bull in the back, and the tarot of the Taurus, of all stories told, and the bull has his tail, T-A-I-L, but T-A-L-E is a story or a Taurus told from the throat, of the sounds of the sun, of the phonetics of Phoenicia, of the phoenix, of resurrection and Anastasia, of rebirth and death, D and Re, Ray and day, rise and set, every day the same serpentine sine wave, or sin of Eve, and the Garden of Eden, eating of 18, of 9 plus 6, 15 plus 3, 18, of Adam at the dawn and Eve at the evening. Adam is odd, Eve is even. Adam is on, Eve is off. Adam is the body or the soma, and Eve is the psyche or the mind. Mind and body. Mind, psyche, even Eve, judgment. That's why the serpent goes to Eve, the mind or the psyche needs to convince the soma or the body, Adam the mud. Eve is the higher synthesis after a full arc of the day, of spring to fall. Autumn, of the tomb of time, of God, devil, good, evil, light and dark, Luke and Darth. Reality, Re, and illusion, D. Before I go to the 12 cash register synchronicities today, oh wait, I didn't show you where Gemini and Cancer are. Gemini is in the arms and the lungs from May to June, and then June to July, the crab Cancer in the sternum or the breastbone. Gemini, the twins, in the arms and the lungs, the two ins, Castor and Pollux, of the pillars, of the paravels, of the temples, of your body, of the book of the Bible, of the Torah to Ra, the light, sun, ray, radiation. So before I go into the 12 cash register synchronicities from yesterday, I'm going to read to you from It's an Alchemical Life. Musings on depth psychology, synchronicity, dreams, and the imaginal world. This is Wednesday, September 19th, 2007, entry called Gnosis and Synchronicity. This is the work of Kay, who is a depth psychologist specializing in dream work and equine guided personal growth. Horses? Through private sessions and group workshops, I coach people through the sometimes difficult process of psychological development. I have a PhD in botany from the University of Oklahoma and a PhD in depth psychology from Pacifica Graduate Institute. Let's read this here, one called Gnosis and Synchronicity. Early in childhood, in order to survive, we learn to suppress certain ways of knowing and ways of perceiving the world that don't fit the commonly accepted framework of society. I learned not to hear voices or converse with dead people and other imaginal beings. I learned not to sense people's energies or see their energy fields. I suppressed these abilities so thoroughly that it is only in the last few years that I've been able to redevelop them to some extent. Had I not done so, it's quite likely that I would have been medicated, given shock treatments, or institutionalized. Along the way, I suppressed my intuitive nature almost completely and learned to value only things that made sense in a linear and rational way. As a result, part of my soul withered into years of depression. What happened in my life is a microcosm of what has happened in Western culture for the past couple of millennia. My own gnosis, Greek for knowledge, my intuitive and certain knowledge and my own body's knowledge and wisdom have been denied their reality and subjugated to the logos of reason and intellect. I often encounter events in my outer life whose relationship and meaning are nearly undeniable, but they are not related in terms of logos. Rather, they are apparently random events that happened to coincide in time. Synchronicity. Apparently random. Here is an example. I woke early one morning several years ago from a dream about being painfully misunderstood, but unable to speak up for myself. This was a situation that I had encountered very often as the child of an authoritarian father. An hour or so later, my father unexpectedly dropped by the house. As I opened the door and let my dog Wendy out to greet him, I noticed that the neighbor's dog, who hated mine, was loose. Before anyone could react, the neighbor dog attacked Wendy, who outweighed him by about 70 pounds. Wendy, of course, wound up on top, growling as though she would tear the smaller dog limb from limb. From my perspective on the porch, I was the only one who could see that Wendy was all bluff. Her teeth were not even near the other dog. My father raced over to the two dogs, dragged Wendy off by her collar, and began hitting her on the face, telling her what a bad and vicious dog she was. For some reason, I was completely calm. I raised my voice to get his attention and said, "Don't you punish my dog. You let me do that." He stopped immediately. Seen rationally, there is no logical connection between the dream and the event, and no meaning to be derived from their coincidence. But my intuitive knowing says that they are intimately, though not causally, connected, and that there is meaning in the synchronicity. On this morning, in the real world, I was able to speak up for my dog in a way that I had never been able to do for myself as a child. And because of the dream, I understood that. This kind of knowing is my essential way of being in the world, and yet it was not only dismissed by my family, but actively discouraged. In the same way, our Western culture has suppressed all such forms of wisdom. It has been going on since before Plotinus. Descartes just happened to phrase it in a way that caught on. Cogito ergo sum. I think, therefore I am. Our word cognition comes from cogito in Latin. Ergo sum. I am. Ergo sum. Sun. Light. Latin. El Aten. Name for the sun in ancient Egypt. The disk. A-T-O-N. A-T-N. A-T-E-N. At the end of tetragrammaton. CRS number 1 from yesterday is a mind blower because it was my own purchase at my lunch break, for which I got 4.48 cents in change at 4:48 p.m. 4:48. And no, there is no way I consciously made that happen, okay? Because I get a half-hour effing lunch break, and I purchased this stuff on the fly. Absolutely no calculation involved with my grabbing all this stuff. And, Joe Rogan was the cashier, who was someone I confide in at work, and my parents' age. Joe Rogan. Obviously not the famous Joe Rogan, but the same name. Well, his cashier number is 1480, and at his register at 4:48 p.m. my change was $4.48. 4 plus 4, 8. 8. $3:39 p.m. The total was $12.26, and the invoice number ended in 26. 4226. All these words equal 26 in English gematria. God, mid, or dim the other way, or dog and dim, or God and mid. Data equals 26. M is 13, I is 9, D is 4. G is 7, O is 15, D is 4. D is 4, A is 1, T is 20, A is 1. 2 and 6, 8. H of the head, of the hatch, of heaven and hell. Head and heel. This one here, the little girl with her, there's a little girl, little boy. Little girl was reminding me so much of my niece Reagan. I asked if she was 7 years old like Reagan, and she gave me the same look that Reagan gives me when she's, pretending to be annoyed or whatever. Just like this kind of like intense, like I'm pissed off at you, but I'm not kind of thing. Funny. So she said, "No, I'm 5." And then I said, "Oh yeah, I guessed 7 because you remind me so much of my niece Reagan, who's going to be 7 on May 14th. And the little girl goes, "That's my name." Yeah. And throughout the whole rest of the transaction, she looked and acted just like my niece with the same name. R-A-E-G-A-N, not R-E-A. Ra, or Ray, again. She was a big part of me coming to understand how Ra is in everything. All the ratios and the rays, all that stuff I talk about all the time. I have this little one who is going to be 7 and born in 2012, May 14th, to thank Reagan, born in the year of the dragon, like me. 31 items at 540. So after all that, they end up having a synchronicity in the purchase, which I showed the mother. 40 at the end of the total and 40 at the end of the invoice number. 4240 at 540. 31 items, 3 and 1, 4. At 3:52 p.m., which adds to 10. 3 plus 5 is 8, plus 2 is 10. The invoice number was 4231. 4 plus 2 is 6, plus 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10. 10, 10, and 11 items with 11 cents change. $12 of them yesterday. Just like last week, there was I think it was 2 days in a row there were 12. There's 3 days in a row now of 3 times in a row that there's been 12, I think. 11 items at 5:11 p.m. And the total reduces to 11. 3 plus 2, 32, 24. 3 plus 2 is 5, plus 2 is 7, plus 4 is 11. Invoice number 7 plus 3 is 10, plus 6 is 16, plus 5, 21, 213. 11, the pair of L's, L even, and 12 of elevation to the most high of 12 o'clock, the summer summit of the consummation of the climax, climbing to the climax of the peak of the Peter of the crest of Christ. 211 was the total and the cash amount paid at 212. 211, 212, 212, 211. At 3:21 p.m., the total was 2792. 9, 2 plus 7, 9 plus 2, 11. 9, 11, 11, 9. Invoice number 4221 at 3:21. 21. 2 and 1 is 3. 3 and 3. 8 items of the H of 88 miles per hour of Mercury with an 88-day year, closest to the sun, closest to the light, god of magic, of magnetism, and electricity. 12 items, and the total was 4225 at 2:12 p.m. 12, 12, 422, 212, 12 items. Back to back on the same minute with the other one, right? $11 items, 2:42 p.m. Invoice number 4200 exactly at 2:42. 4200, 242. $33 total and 79 cents. 7 and 9, 16, 1 and 6, 7. Same as my birthday and cashier number. 529. $3:07 p.m. The total ends in 7. 6127 and $61 total. 6 and 1, 7. Invoice number ending in 17. 4217. 6127 total, 3:07 p.m. This one here, invoice number 4192, or reverse the 4 and 1 and you get 1492. The year the murderous psychopath sailed the ocean blue. 1730, 220. 20 items. 2:20 p.m. time, 20 items in the purchase. 2020. Next year. Clear. Claire. Clara. Claire Underwood. Clara Clayton. Clarice Starling. The light. The clear, bright light. The white light. At 7:22 p.m., the total was 428, and the invoice number begins with 428, 4282, at 428 with a total of 428. Just like the one I showed, the first one I shared with you at Joe Rogan's Register My Own Purchase, with the 482. Excuse me, 7:17 p.m. The subtotal was $17.94 before the 6-cent tax. $17, $7.17, 1 and 7 8. So it came to 18 exactly with the 6-cent tax, and the invoice number 4277. 1777 of CHRIST equaling 77 at 7:17. Hare Krishna.